campus. Fresh out East Atlanta with no mountains. Damn, fresh out East Atlanta. Up on board like a traffic jam. Man, I was quick to pay that girl like Uncle Sam. Here you go, ayy, take it on me. Ayy, shout the craving on me, get the beating on me, on me. She waited on me, damn, well, shout the caking on me, got the bacon on me. This is history and I'm making on me, on me. Point blank, close range, that feed. If it goes a million, that's me. I was getting moolah, baby.
Havana, ooh, nah, nah. Hey. Half of my heart is in Havana, ooh, nah, nah. He took me back to East Atlanta, nah, nah, nah. All of my heart is in Havana. My heart is in Havana. Havana, ooh, nah, nah. Take me back, back, back. Take me back, back, back.
We've been on the run, driving in the sun, looking out for number one. California, here we come, right back where we started from. Well, hustlers, grab your shadow weighs a ton, driving down the 101. California, here we come, right back where we started from. California. Nothing's gonna stop me now. California, here we come, right back where we started from. A pedal to the floor, thinking of the war, gotta get us to the show. California, here we come, right back where we started from. California. California, California, here we come. California, California, here we come. California, Never been so uneasy. Jealousy got me freaky, out of my mind. So I get high like Colorado. We had it all, but what do I know? I try to push away the sorrow, but today it's too late. I try tomorrow. I'm losing sleep all by myself. I'm wide awake and I just wonder how you put my heart back on the shelf. Well, I'ma be alone now. Never been on the TV. Scratch me off of your CV. Out of your mind, out of your mind. Never been so uneasy. Jealousy got me freaky, out of my mind. So I get high like Colorado. We had it all, but what do I know? I try to push away the sorrow, but today it's too late. I try tomorrow. Drowning in my sofa with my bloodshot red eyes, riding roller coaster till I see the sunrise. I get high like Colorado. We had it all, but what do I know? I try to push away the sorrow, but today it's too late. I try tomorrow. I get high like Colorado. I get high like Colorado.
Like the legend of the phoenix, all ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning. Love. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cause to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 The present has no ribbon. Your gift keeps on giving. What is this I'm feeling? If you wanna leave, I'm with it. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cause to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We're up all night to get lucky.
We're up all night to get. 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 We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We're up all night to get lucky.
Running straight back to the dealership. Me, I'm in my spaceship. That's right, I work for NASA. This 7H is not a fraud. Call that my bodyguard. Call that the bodyguard. Yeah, that's my bodyguard. Wear a lot of jewelry. Young don't do security. It's whiter than a napkin, harder than a dinner plate. If you want it, come and get it. You know I stay super straight. Ran up in my spots, and now I'm working out the Super 8.
All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Georgia Tech Live Show with your guy, WreckTalk. Hope you're all doing well. It's going to be a little bit different of a live show tonight, seeing as how we were on a bye week. Now, I've seen some people asking, did we win the bye week? I think we did. Yeah, I think we won. I know for sure that we didn't lose this week. Pretty confident in that assessment. I'm going to go through the chat real quick, see who's in here. Simona Stafford, what is going on? Glad to see you in here. Got to be riding high a week later with that absolutely clutch Christian Leary touchdown to take down the Canes. We'll be talking about the Canes a little bit today as well. John Burns says, I look forward to an aggressive defense. See y'all at the Flats. I assume he is talking about our upcoming game this week against Boston College. We'll talk about that as well. Tiger Cat says, hey, how are you doing, Tiger Cat? Good friend of the channel. Good to see you in here, TK. I almost read my own thing. I almost said WreckTalk in here. CJ in here says Yellow Jacket Nation. That's right. Captain Jack Sparrow in the house. Ask Miami, you good? You good, bro? You good, Miami? I don't think they are. Now, I have also seen a lot of you asking about Touchdown Tim. I reached out to Touchdown Tim. He's a busy guy, though. He hasn't responded to my message on Twitter, though he did put a tweet out saying that the jack-off jackets does not apply to me or Sea-Dog. So he's elevated us above that. So I do think we are ingratiated with the greatness that is Touchdown Tim. I imagine why he's not able to come on tonight. We're going to get him on it eventually. It's because he's working on his article. Can you imagine after one loss, the article? I mean, what was it, like, I don't know, 10,000 words or something? It was a lot. Can you imagine how long the article is going to be on the second loss when there isn't, like, you can't just blame it necessarily on coaching? Be interesting to see. Harrison Chan says, has Touchdown Timothy dropped his next article yet? No, he has a preview for the North Carolina game, so maybe we'll look at that tonight. I'm not sure how long it is, and we'll see how well it has aged. Mike Doug in the house, member of the channel. That's why his name's in green. We appreciate all the member support. I think we have like 16 at the moment. Huge help to the channel. You get those custom emojis. You get members-only videos. It's a good thing to do. The Adam117 says, great picks this week, WreckTalk. That's why we don't bet on sports. That's right. In fact, I've already calculated. So last week, I looked like a genius. I picked 65% winners last week. This week, I picked 30%. So I would have lost all my money and then some, considering if I leveraged anything. That is right. That is why you don't bet on sports. Unlikely things do happen, like you having a 65 or 85% winning weekend, and then you have a 30% weekend. So Squid actually crushed me. He picked 47%. So I wouldn't have come close to beating a coin flip last week. That's why I hate sports betting. Colby says, hope this is a call-in show. I need to put disrespect on Georgia Tech's name. Well, it can't be because you bet on them this week, because we didn't play. Yeah, I mean, with it being a bye week, we might open up the StreamYard later. Who else do we have in here? Looking Whisper Is that Careless Whisper? I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Touchdown Timothy been quiet today. Can't wait for his take on the UNC game. He's not been quiet on Twitter. That I can tell you for an absolute certainty. Touchdown Tim has been on an absolute tear. In fact, we might look at some of his tweets. He's been using the term cuck a lot on Twitter lately. He's not happy. Buzz Talk, the newest Georgia Tech content creator in the house, says, yo, what's up, Rec? What's going on, Buzz Talk? And that might be everyone. Nope, Champ says, damn, some of y'all got a thing for Dion. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's hear it. If they go to a bowl game after Colorado won one game last year, pretty good, I would think. Yeah, here's the thing. When you do this and you got all the showboat and all the flash, like, people are going to make fun of you when you lose. Like, have you been a college football fan for more than 2 seconds? I don't know. Val Loves Doggers says, I think Colorado will win 5 or 6 games. And let me say, for the 100th time, what Dion has done at Colorado is nothing short of amazing. Okay? It's nothing short of amazing. No one thought he'd be where he is up to this point in the season. Least of all this idiot. Okay, I'm picking 30% winners last week. Lord knows I don't. And by the way, he doesn't need anyone to defend him. He's Deion Sanders, like the greatest trash talker in the game right now. He's doing fine. B Bean says first in the chat. If by first you mean 50th, yes, you were first. 1126 says, I think that's Georgia Tech fan 2007, says Sea-Dog just posted. Oh, well, he's in the back room. We'll ask him about it when we bring him on. Eric Wallace says Mizzou won and University of Washington lost last night. Yeah, opposite of what I picked. I know, you don't have to rub it in, Eric. You don't have to rub it in. I think that's everyone. Okay, let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend, my boy Sea-Dog. How are you doing tonight, sir? No, you're good, man. You're good. I've got your mic turned on now.
Yep. So let me know how I sound. Last time I was on here, like, I was talking through the freaking webcam the whole time. You gotta let me know, dude. Doesn't it sound better now?
It sounds, it sounds fantastic. I mean, yeah. I feel like I heard an angel. Yeah.
When I was on here, when we were reading our buddy Touchdown Tim's article, I was on the webcam audio and it sounded like I was in a valley. It sounded like crap.
TK says, hello. TK, I said hi. I said you're a great friend of the channel. I said it was great that you were in here. Hello, TK. How are you?
What's up, chat?
Cheers to the chat. I need to do something on the Georgia Tech live show for that. Well, so Sea-Dog, it was a pretty crazy weekend of football again. It seems like every week, lot of crazy things going on. The only game I've watched all of was Miami, North Carolina. Did you watch that game?
Yes, I did. I watched, I'll tell you the games I watched all the way. Colorado, Stanford, Friday night. I watched, what else did I watch? I peeped in on the Georgia game throughout the day. And then I watched Oregon, Washington all the way. And then Miami, North Carolina. And, also, I peeped in on, what was it? Notre Dame, Southern Cal?
Yes.
Yeah. And then also Duke and NC State, I had that on there too. I had like 3 screens up. In Tennessee, Texas A&M, I had that up. So South Carolina, Florida, I caught the end of that. So that's what I watched this weekend.
We got Patience Veach in the house. Says, what's good, my guys? Patience Veach. Absolutely thrilled to have you in here, Georgia Tech super fan, and what Sea-Dog and I aspire to be as fans.
Yeah, that's the highest bar you can reach as a Georgia Tech fan.
Yeah, like the Medal of Honor for Georgia Tech fans would be called like the Patience Veach Memorial. You know, so
Yep.
I want to talk about Miami. That to me, like, how many penalties Miami have? Like,
So I just came up with a video for Miami where I was talking about them. It's they committed a lot of penalties. Look, they got beat by a better team.
they
I mean,
did.
It is what it is. Like, people are panicking and freaking out and losing their minds over this. It's like, well, I saw it coming. Did I not say this all week that this would happen?
You did, and
Matt Brown's undefeated against freaking Miami.
I didn't know that, and I picked Miami in the upset. I really thought Miami would kind of get it together and show up and show out, but
It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things in the ACC. Like, UNC has Miami's number. It is what it is. Yeah.
And Miami couldn't get out of their way in this game. I mean, not only were their players committing penalties, like early in that game, I guess I don't know if it was Nate McCullum's towel one of their players took, and the other, I think McCullum tried to get it back, and then one of their players that's not even a starter, although he's a fifth-year senior, like, gets a personal foul penalty. Their coach got a personal foul penalty. Van Dyke with 2 more picks.
That was funny.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
He came pretty much all the way to midfield and drew a penalty. And there were penalties that were devastating for Miami.
Yeah.
I don't think Miami is that much less talented than North Carolina, but I do think
they're probably more talented.
they could be. I mean, look, talent has never been the problem for Miami.
Yeah.
North Carolina's better coached, and North Carolina is a more complete team, though. And after watching Drake May in that game, I don't know if you agree. I think Drake May could be the best quarterback in the country. When you look at those deep balls he threw with the velocity they had on him and the spot he put them in, Drake May and Tez Walker, which I also want to talk about too. Tez Walker, 3 schools, 3 years. New evidence, which I couldn't find. So if you don't know the story, Tez Walker was deemed ineligible to play this year because it would have been his second transfer. So he had to file for an appeal with the NCAA. NCAA said no. Then 2 weeks ago, they say new evidence has come to light, but they won't say what the evidence is. I couldn't find what this evidence was. So I don't get it. I don't understand it at all. I know Luke Walker said evidently North Carolina was, and this is like, I can't square. North Carolina was threatening an antitrust lawsuit against the NCAA.
Whoa.
And this is what they were going to argue as why you couldn't disqualify Tez Walker. And I'm like, well, then any ban or punishment, you could argue that. You know, if we cheat and get a postseason ban, that's antitrust. You can't ban us from postseason play. So I'm probably going to come out with a video that is just titled like we just need to dissolve the NCAA because they already don't do anything as it is.
Yeah, they suck. Nobody likes them.
No.
Yeah, as for that, I don't really have a lot to say. Everybody's been talking about the Tez Walker thing, but
he did show up and show out. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns in that game. Interesting that I think Tyler Van Dyke threw 4 touchdowns on 2 picks for 391 yards. And then I think Drake May threw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions on 278 yards.
That game was really conflicting for me because I wasn't sure who I wanted to lose more. You know, I was like I was watching. I would watch like Miami break off a big play and I'd be like, damn. But then I would watch UNC do it and I'm like, damn. It was like I can't stand them. Like I kind of lean towards wanting Miami to lose, but then I would see like McCollum and I'd be like, man.
Yeah, it hurts.
Fuck that. Yeah.
It still hurts.
Yeah, it still hurts. Yeah. We could use them too.
We
I
could.
mean, we have we have a great wide receiver room, but the depth. I mean, the injuries have been kind of hurting us, and having a player like that is never a bad thing. I mean,
No,
we're all right without him. It's just I
no,
don't know, it just pisses me off.
we're good. I think at wide receiver. Mike Doug with the $2.22 super chat. Thank you, Mike Doug.
222, huh?
Yep,
Yeah, I see what you
222
did there.
2-0.
I see what you did there.
That's right. You can't talk trash about Georgia Tech till you beat someone 222 to nothing. So yeah, I think Miami's undisciplined, but I'll tell you this: so is North Carolina. Not in the same way that Miami is, but there was a penalty about every 3 plays in that game. In fact, there were stretches where there was a penalty every play for 4 or 5 plays. A lot of holding penalties on North Carolina, a lot of PIs on North Carolina, which might give me some hope going into the North Carolina game. Not that I'm at all overlooking Boston College. It's just I was watching this game thinking about when we play
Yeah, me too.
North Carolina. They're gonna be a force.
They're gonna be undefeated too because they have Virginia next week. So
They should absolutely beat the brakes off. Now, speaking of teams that were undefeated and no longer are, what happened to Pitt last week? Or what happened to Louisville last week playing Pitt?
Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I mean, it was bound to happen. They weren't going to go undefeated. It's just they were bound to get upset at some point. It sucks that it was against Pitt, but I mean that's literally all it is. You come off the big win over Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I mean they were down for a stinker. It sucks that it was against the worst team in the ACC, but
It does. They got blanked in the second half of that game.
Yeah,
They did not score a point. It looks like Pittsburgh scored 24 unanswered in the second half.
Yeah.
Christian Adams asks, y'all see that stud wide receiver from Mill Creek that committed to Georgia Tech play against Buford? I did. I think you're talking about, what's his name, Greco or something? Plays for Mill Creek, had some sick catches. And that's the other thing for Georgia Tech going out. We got to hold this recruiting class together, and the best way I know to do that is get a lot of wins.
True.
Beat UGA, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. That CJ Jackson, I was pissed about that. Kind of thought it was due to the Bowling Green loss, but seems like there were other factors at play when it came to that commitment.
Well, I'm sure NIL is a big thing, and that's something that Tech, I have no idea about. I know it's not good, but we got to do better with that.
He just committed to LSU, by the way.
CJ Jackson did?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they threw a lot of money at him.
Sucks. We could have used him, man. It just go and comment on my video, "Go Tigers," as if like on my video from months ago of me celebrating him committing to us. Like, thanks, asshole. Let her rub it in.
Well, and we don't really have any history with LSU. Like, it'd be one thing if like Louisville got him or something.
Just an obnoxious thing to do. Like,
well,
thanks.
I mean, LSU's struggling this year, so they don't really have enough or a lot to be excited about. But yeah, the Louisville loss stinks for them, and then Notre Dame comes out and takes care of USC, makes Caleb Williams look like a chump. What do you have? 3 picks in that game, and I think a lot of people saw that coming. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's the only upset win I picked that worked out. Notre Dame, like, how bad is USC's defense?
Yeah, it's atrocious. I picked Notre Dame to win. We did pick 'ems and everything. I picked them to win. It was so obvious. Notre Dame's just a better team.
Yeah,
they played a harder schedule. They look better. It was an easy pick. I should have bet on it. It was so. I mean, I knew it was coming. Were they an underdog? They were favored, weren't they?
Actually, yeah, I think Notre Dame was a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, they completely just kicked their ass the whole game. It was never in doubt. I saw that. I saw it coming from a mile away. Like Southern Cal is not it. That's been evident since game 1. with them.
And I think that brings up a good question of, is there a hard ceiling with Lincoln Riley? Like, is this kind of what you're going to get with him, a borderline playoff team at best?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's funny. I just got done talking about that with Miami and Mario Cristobal. But yeah, I mean, there's some unless they do something that they've never done before and
Yeah.
improve. I mean, I guess you could, fire the D coordinator and try another one and let him have the reins, and then hopefully it's a good hire, and then maybe, but.
Well, I think they've got to do that because he brought that DC over from Oklahoma, and he stunk the place up at Oklahoma. So I don't know why he would do that.
Everybody was questioning that too. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but
No, it doesn't. I'm trying to think. Now, I picked NC State in upset. They got their brains beat out by Duke. You said you watched that game. Is Duke's quarterback still hurt?
yeah, they beat them with their backup quarterback at home, but they did beat them.
Dang.
So yeah.
So
I kind of just had it on. I wasn't watching it a ton. They struggled at first. Like, I think NC State got the 3 on them early, and then it was like that for a while, 3-0 or something like that, and then Duke just kept scoring and got blown out. I mean, NC State sucks. So
yeah, I thought they were a little better than that. Tennessee gets a much needed win against Texas A&M. Things are not looking good for Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. They're now 4-3, 2-2 in the SEC. I don't know how hot his seat is yet. It's going to be red hot next year. I think they're starting to approach buyout time with him.
They should have been able to beat Tennessee. I mean, I know it's tough on the road and everything, but Tennessee has a monster home field advantage. But Texas A&M, they're just not where they need to be. Like, they're just not. I don't know. They're so disappointing. It's like, in a year like this, Tennessee's not that good.
No, they're down.
Not. Tennessee's not. Florida's not. South Carolina's not. They should beat South Carolina, but it's like, I don't know. Can they get back to 8-4? I doubt it. They're got 3 losses now?
Yeah, 3 losses, 2 in the SEC.
Yeah, so definitely not winning the division.
I tell you what, though, they gave Miami hope, didn't they? Oh, boy, they gave Miami hope.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Turns out it's not that great a win for Miami. Does Miami have a good win at this point? No, they don't.
It was an all right win. I mean, anytime you beat an SEC West team, I don't know. This seems all right to me. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just made a video about Miami talking about. I'm getting kind of irritated with them, like how they think the sky's falling. It's like, dude, chill. It's year 2 under Mario Cristobal. Like, it's your fault for thinking that you were a playoff team. It's your fault. It's nobody's fault but you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of the national types,
the media bought into it,
that pick them to go, 10-2 or whatever. It's just not happening. Like, Dion to Colorado and like Lincoln Riley to Southern Cal or whatever TCU did that last year. Like, that's an outlier. You can't like count on that.
No.
Mario Cristobal's a proven winner. Just give him time. Like, he can win the conference, which is something Miami hasn't ever done. So, like, I mean, you need to get to that level to where you're competing with the conference. I mean, but you're not. I mean,
no.
I mean, they like to think themselves on the level of FSU and Clemson and whatever other high caliber teams you could think, but they're not. They're in the middle of the pack as far as the conference goes. They're on the level of Georgia Tech and like Wake Forest, and they just think that they're way better than they are, and it places an inordinate amount of expectations on them. It's like stop putting so much. They're talking about bench Tyler Van Dyke. A lot of people are talking about firing Mario Cristobal. It's just stupid, man.
Well,
just stupid.
both of those are stupid. I mean, it's not clear to me which one is more stupid out of those two statements. Probably fire Mario. I mean, they're not in a position to fire Mario. They'd owe him like 60-something million on his contract to fire him. He signed 10 years, 80 million. And look, this was preseason too. There were a lot of Miami fans that had them going 10-2, 11-1 preseason. This isn't like what Larry Coker inherited, right? This is not that situation. They're a team, like you said, that is like a Georgia Tech or a Wake. That's going to have. It's going to be a slow. This is something Coop talked about in a video today. It's going to be a slow build to recovery for them, and they're going to have to be patient. And I saw this stat during the game. Do you think this is affecting their quarterback playing offense? Tyler Van Dyke, in his 3 years, has had 3 OCs while he's been at Miami.
Yeah, dude. Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like Bo Nix or whatever at
Yeah,
Auburn. Like, stop firing your coach every 3 years, and this won't happen. Just give him time. Luckily for them, he's got a even if they may not know it, even if they may not want it. Luckily for them, he's got a long contract, so they
Yeah.
can't get rid of him even if they want to. But that's a good thing for them. They just don't know it.
yeah. I mean, they're probably as impatient as any fan base, particularly in the ACC.
Yeah, it's like look at FSU. It took them 4 or 5 years to get to where they are. It's like that can happen if thankfully they didn't fire Norvell when he went 5 and whatever in his third year.
They wanted to.
They did, but luckily for them, the school had foresight. Like, you have to look and realize that you're making progress.
Yeah.
And this Miami team's better than last year, so just chill, chill. And you're placing all this expectations. No wonder TVD looks lost out there. It's because as soon as he doesn't play like a Heisman caliber quarterback, his world comes crashing down. Everybody turns on him at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Don't do that,
I think
don't
he's
do that.
injured too. I think he's nursing
You think so?
injury. Yeah. And during that game, obviously the index finger on his throwing hand was hurt because I said that. He also had a pretty bad bruise on his throwing arm right below the shoulder. I think he was a little bit banged up coming into that game. But Miami probably
Yeah.
doesn't care. You still should, have.
Yeah, he needs to be benched. He needs to be thrown in jail. He needs to be deported. These Miami fans are insane, dude. They're insane. Like, chill out. Give them a few years. It's your fault for expecting 10 wins this year or more. People are ridiculous.
100%.
Do it every year, though. It makes it funny for me. Makes it funny to make fun of you because of how delusional and stupid you are or whatever. But I went ahead and made a video today saying basically that, like, you're putting too much expectations on them. And once they don't meet that, it makes the team hard to bounce back because it's like the whole fan base turns on them as soon as you're not. TVD should have never been mentioned in the Heisman conversation.
I agree.
And Miami should have never been mentioned, and maybe at their ceiling, like contending for the conference, maybe if you're like super high on them. But how could you be? They after the past however many years they've been just dumpster juice. It's like,
Yeah.
people never learn.
No, and that, is kind of pervasive throughout college football. And I won't speak for you. I bought into that a little bit with Georgia Tech. I think I expected more of what was,
I did too.
Of what was reasonable.
I did too. But I'm not saying fire Brett Key and bench Haynes King. Hey,
Yeah.
look, Haynes King, just like TVD, has had 2 bad games in a row.
Yep.
You don't hear us calling for his head. I've
No.
seen very few people call for Haynes King's head, like almost none.
Right.
There's always going to be those fringes, but it's like the fringes of other fan bases are like a good portion of Miami's fan base.
I would say most. I mean, I don't see many reasonable Miami
Yeah.
takes on Twitter,
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Coop is about as reasonable
Coop is. I think he's being hard on TVD too. I mean, it's like obviously he's not as good as you thought, as good as you want him to be. But if he came back next year, that wouldn't be a bad thing, you know. You don't
No,
have to he can play, he can improve, believe it or not. You know, it wouldn't be a bad thing if he came back. It'd probably be a good thing to have a senior guy there, you know. But what do I know? Whatever. Run him out of town. Make our players portal when they do a bad play. It makes it funnier for me.
yeah, just have a revolving door. Well, pivoting a little bit, we're approaching game week against Boston College. I don't think Boston College is a good team. They do have a good piece on offense, though, and that is their quarterback. He is very mobile. I see people asking about what scheme-wise. I mean, it might be that we just got to spy him all game. I would think the game plan defensively coming in, get pressure, and do not let this guy beat you with your legs. If he's going to beat you, he needs to beat you with his arm.
Yeah, I guess we do have a game this week. It's lonely not having a game.
Yeah.
Shout out to this Boston College game. It's on my birthday.
That's
all
right.
I want for my freaking birthday, baby. Just a win. Just a freaking win. Come on. It's not that much to ask for. Now, it's funny they do have the same record as us. They've beaten, I think they beat Holy Cross barely, and then they beat Virginia, I think. No? Yeah, they beat Virginia.
They beat Virginia.
And then they beat Army this past week, which is a good win. I think it was on the road, too.
Yeah, Army's another team you don't want to play if you're a Power 5 team. I mean,
yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's impressive for a crappy team to go on the road and beat Army. It seems like Boston College has been improving this year, so yeah, we could lose it for sure. I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost it. I'd be mad, but we should beat them. But
yeah, we got them
coming into this game thinking they should beat us too.
Yeah, and look, I get that. They're 1-2 in the ACC. We're 2-1. We both desperately need this win. I think it's a little more desperate for us. If we're going to make a bowl, I think you absolutely have to win this game. If you don't win this game, you got to upset like Clemson and North Carolina or something like this. Yeah. I haven't watched a lot of Boston College, though. I've watched them play Florida State. I watched them play Army a little bit. To me, this is just a week of can you play fundamentally sound? Can you sustain that defensive play and improve on offense? I think that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm full on. This is our Super Bowl. We got to win. We got to win this. I really hope everybody's dialed in. If we play our best game, we could just absolutely kick their ass. We could kick their ass if we're fully dialed in. So hopefully we do that and take care of business against them because they're an improved team from what they were in the beginning of the year. So
are you familiar with Gaming Lord 2007? What team does he root for? He's throwing a lot of shade at us. Yes,
I haven't heard. State your name. State your freaking team, coward, so I can tell you why they suck. State your team.
Yeah, Gaming Lord, tell us what team you root for.
Explain to you carefully how they suck. Gaming Lord.
I bet he doesn't even. I bet his gaming sucks too. I bet he's a casual.
I'd smoke your ass in Call of Duty or something.
How about
he would smoke your ass in Dark Souls 1v1 PvP.
Yeah, if you want to go Souls PvP, it's Backstab City as much as you want of it.
Yeah, and I'll freaking crack 90s on you in COD and then Smash too if you want.
By the way, I speaking of COD and stuff, I've been ingratiated with some more hip teenage vernacular. Evidently, you told me about Cracked.
Yep.
On God is the new thing.
You never heard that one?
No.
That one's been around a while.
I didn't. And then Ops. Have you heard of Ops?
Ops, yeah. It's funny. I think I forget who I was telling about it. I feel like you were around maybe. They were like, what is that, operatives?
It probably was
No.
me. Yeah, I was
Yeah, no, it's
opposition. I guess.
opposition. Yeah, opposition.
Like, on God, bruh. On God, I'm telling
On
the truth
God.
right now. This guy's ops. He's total ops right
He's
now.
an op. He's being an op.
Gaming
Sure.
Lord is total ops. On God, dude. So I've got it. This is a much shorter article. I haven't heard from Touchdown Tim, but I do kind of
That's
want to.
sad. I was hoping we would see him tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure his wife is hosing him again. Probably has him committed to some other cookout.
Ah, jeez, what a bitch.
But his preview article is much shorter. And I think
Yeah.
if you're okay, we could look at it and get through it
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me go over here.
I'm sure it all aged spectacularly.
All right, it's titled Miami UNC Preview, Kane's Statement Win Coming, baby. All right, already not aging super well. Let's continue. If you haven't had a chance to read last Sunday's piece, we did.
Oh, we did.
My emergency reaction to the loss, asterisk coaching and refs robbed us of our locked up late game win. Many of my thoughts about this week can be found there in the link below. Now, if you haven't heard of that, I did a video on it, or you can go. I'll actually. Here's a link to his little WordPress.
Here's a new word for you too. Dead ass. Have you heard this?
I have. It now
Yeah,
that's
dead ass. That was a banger of an article last week's.
is that spelled D-A-T? Dad ass?
No, dead ass like dead. Like
Oh, then no, I haven't.
D-A-D, dead ass, like dead ass serious is what it means. It means you're serious. Like when I say I'm dead ass, I'm serious.
So if I wanted to be super serial, I could say on God, dead ass.
Oh my god, dead ass. Yeah. That article last week was bussin'.
Dude, when my daughter is like 12, 13, I'm going to embarrass the fool out of her with whatever words they're using.
That is funny.
On God, you better get in the car. On God.
By then it'll be something else, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. He says that article has been doing numbers. By the way, he's got like 500 followers now on Twitter.
He deserves it, man. He's exploded in popularity. It's not hard to see why.
No.
I mean, he's incredibly talented.
He
I'm
is.
dead ass. He's incredibly talented.
Yeah, on God, dude. That article has been doing numbers, being talked about far and wide by thousands.
Yeah, I thought it was funny how he put doing numbers in quote. It's like very funny the things he chooses to put in quotes.
Yeah, that would be like if I was trying to throw shade at him, I'd say, "Oh, he's doing numbers."
Oh,
That's
you're doing numbers. Yeah.
Mainly because of the key takeaway that our Canes are still on track for the coveted ACC title and a trip to the college football playoffs.
Hell yeah.
I'm sold. And why is...
We're going to need to do some recalculations, though, after this loss.
Yeah, we are. And why is that relevant for this article? Well, tell me. Because it means one thing. Our Canes must and will defeat UNC tonight. And then he links the article that we read right below that. That brings me to the matter at hand. Our Canes and their heavyweight showdown with Matt Clown and his North Carolina high heels.
High heels. I like that.
Yeah, dude, this guy is a wordsmith. Half the country clearly didn't pay attention to last week's game. Yeah, no one was talking about that game whatsoever. Unreal seeing all the doubters like the sick, openly anti-Miami-based national media. Look at those college game day clowns showing no respect to the Canes.
Did they pick this? I'm sure they picked this game on the... Yeah, it was so obvious. Was gonna win.
Well, I think he could be right though. I do think like I didn't fall into that. I wasn't anti-Miami. I picked him to win. So he's not talking about me.
I knew this was coming, but don't mean to, jerk myself off too hard, but I totally freaking called it.
Well, I don't know if I think you did because you liked it. He said jack off jackets doesn't apply to you, so he wasn't talking about you either.
That's funny. I've never heard that one, to be honest. So I
No,
like it.
that one's
He's
new.
already more creative than some other people that try to trash talk Georgia Tech.
That's why I respect him. Like when you come at me with new trash talk, like I respect the hell out
I
of that.
dig it. Yellow jack offs. That's pretty funny. Bless you.
Jesus, on God, that scared me. Dead ass.
Yeah.
What
It's
I
a
saw,
violent sneeze.
yeah, is she okay?
Yeah, she's all right.
All right. What I saw last week was a team playing the worst game they'll play all year and still walking away with the win in hand.
99.999% in hand. Note.
That's what he says. Secured. And we would have taken the official W had we just taken the knee.
If it wasn't for CTE.
That's right. Knee and CTE, dude. We were robbed by incompetent coaching and fixed officiation. It's weird that he uses the word officiation and not officiating. But anyway, more on that later. These jokers in the national media seem to believe Miami was outplayed by Georgia Tech jackoffs. Newsflash, we weren't. And this makes them believe on God.
Babe, we can hear when you do that stuff. What's wrong? Her internet won't work. I'm sorry.
She needs an expert. I know one.
Yeah, we're having an internet crisis out here.
It is an internet crisis. All right. Newsflash, we weren't, and this makes them believe we will lose to the UNC High Heels. Unreal and incorrect. Those usually go hand in hand. The Canes are far superior to the High Heels. I like this High Heels. I think we should use this in our North
That's
Carolina.
pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
You know what I also enjoyed? Now, it wasn't directed towards North Carolina, but Ed Orgeron, when he was playing UCLA, he said their color was sissy blue. Now that's funny. I think that applies to North Carolina too. So I need to start calling them sissy blue.
North
'Cause
Carolina.
that shit's funny. Wearing that sissy blue.
That sissy blue, they are doo-doo, North Carolina High Heels, baby.
Yep.
All right. The Canes are far superior to the High Heels and have 0 legitimate victories this year.
0 legitimate victories. Every one of their victories is illegitimate. Man.
Let me look at how many illegitimate. So they didn't beat South Carolina, App State, Minnesota, Pitt, Syracuse. Now he could be saying that this win was not legitimate either. So we'll have to continue.
Well, something tells me that he would say that.
All cupcakes and perennial unranked loser teams. That's the irony is heavy. But it does set them up to say this is also not a legitimate victory. In fact, their signature win was another showdown with fake former FCS team App State. Barely escaped in overtime. Pitiful. Did that game go to overtime this year?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Okay. He knows more than I do. Meanwhile, the Canes crushed A&M, humiliated Jimbo's army of 5 stars. Well, most of them transferred out, but anyway. As we know, A&M crushed Auburn, who almost beat Georgia, and A&M also nearly took down the great St. Nick. Saban and his beloved Bama. The Canes have much better talent, and despite our head coach making a blunder last week, we clearly have the edge in the coaching department.
Well, I mean, I'm going to make that argument too, because Mac Brown doesn't know where he's at. He's the Joe Biden of college football.
What'd they tell me to say again?
He doesn't know where he's at. He doesn't know what's going on. Doesn't know how to run a football program. They're going to have a collapse again this year, but it's just only a matter of when. Looks like it'll be against our Jackets.
What if we break Miami and North Carolina this year?
We will, dude. I'm convinced. We're gonna kick North Carolina's ass, dude. It's gonna be great.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Just look at their careers. Coach Cristobal has succeeded everywhere he has coached and has left every job on his terms to move up to a better job every time. Now that is true. That is true. Meanwhile, Matt Clown has spent the last decade trying to bury his disgrace, Texas implosion, and the firing disguised as a fake retirement. Cover blown on that when he got a new job. Our Cristobal will not be outcoached by this disgrace. Fired Matt Clown, no doubt. All right. Speaking of Coach Cristobal, I want to address on the record some things I said in the Georgia Tech reaction article. Please say he mentions me or Sea-Dog. Please. Everything I said about his blunder, I stand by. However, I said he needs to be demoted to recruiter immediately and given a massive pay cut so we can free up money for a better head coach to run the show. I spoke too soon on this, so he agrees with Sea-Dog. Your boy Timmy can always admit when he is wrong, and I admit it. It takes a big man to admit when you're wrong, Sea-Dog.
I'm surprised he did. I didn't think he would.
Joe Biden's in the chat, actually. He says, at least I know what I'm doing. Well,
Yeah. Well,
that's
you got
dead
that.
ass.
You got that over freaking Mac Brown, because that old geezer doesn't know what the hell's going on. Doesn't know what year it is.
No.
This year he thinks he's back at Texas, but he's in for a rude awakening.
He's going to feel like he's playing Texas when he plays us.
That's right. They're in for an ass whooping for sure.
He says, I apologize to you, Coach Cristobal. I am still bought in. Before triggering the demotion plan, we need to trust in Cristobal for more time and let him go out and win us a natty or more. I don't know what's greater than winning a natty. I guess multiple natties is what he's saying.
Or more. What? In 1 year, yeah, I guess you could win. You could win multiple, but I don't know what you could do more in 1 year. I guess go undefeated or
that would be
that's out the
impressive.
window.
If Cristobal won multiple natties in 1 year, I'd be bought into him.
Yeah, maybe the Heisman too. That could maybe like a bunch of awards too.
That's true. That's true. In the next few years before enacting the demotion, give him a chance. He has already turned this program around. I believe in Coach Cristobal. Besides coaching and general talent, there is another key area where Miami has the advantage. One thing I never wavered on, not even after the Georgia Tech loss, is that TVD is my Heisman favorite. Many criticized him for 3 INTs, but you can read my article from last Sunday. I never doubted. Well, he did improve. He only threw 2 picks in this game, so he could be right. There is a reason he is still number 2 graded quarterback in the nation by PFF, behind only the stat padding Pac-12 fraud Michael Penix Jr. Who's he the quarterback for? Is that Washington?
Yeah, Washington.
Okay. Yeah, he's just stat padding, dude. He stat padded this weekend in a 3-point win. Yes, that's his real name. Well, I mean, I trust that that's his real name. I call him Michael Jr. Penix. You know why? TVD will silence the doubters today, and we will end this ridiculous idea that fake May has any chance at the Heisman. No shot. So here's what we've learned. TVD is the Heisman frontrunner, and Drake May is a fraud and shouldn't even be in the conversation. How do you feel about that, C-Dog?
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Our boy Touchdown Timothy spitting the facts again.
I don't know what. Oh, it go. Okay.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm so freaking tired. I took 2 Benadryl before I came on here. And it was like, I'm like falling asleep.
It's good, dude. You don't have to stay on. You don't
I have poison ivy, so I took it to help stop itching me. You know.
Yeah.
God dang, I gotta get off soon. I'm like falling asleep.
All right. Well, you get off any point you need to.
How much longer is left in the article? I'll get off after the article's done.
All right. Well, I don't know why he's calling out one of our own here. He puts his Facebook in here. So now we're doxing people, and he puts it in here like 3 times. So it goes down. Oh God!
He put somebody's Facebook?
Yeah, he embedded a video in there. All right. So yeah, it's like 3 or 4 more paragraphs.
Is it this freaking guy, the ACC ref?
Oh, I think so. It might be.
Yeah. Because, Miami fans are on this thing where the ref that called that fumble in the Georgia Tech game, apparently his profile picture was like a Georgia Tech player like tackling a Miami player and him in the background. So
that's a smoking gun to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a huge breakthrough on the Miami front. It's so funny, dude. They're literally on there with their tinfoil hats and their cork boards. And they're like, yeah, I'm telling you, it's a conspiracy.
Halo's coming into this somewhere.
I'm telling you what it was. It was Bigfoot. Bigfoot caused them to lose these 2 games.
Oh my God.
Bigfoot and Ancient Aliens caused them to lose to North Carolina.
Oh, is that George Saklios or whatever his name is going to be on here with his friggin'
yeah.
It was diorite. You can't cut diorite with regular tools.
And this year and then this week they're flying chemtrails over the Miami stadium, over their practice stadium. So that means they're going to lose to Clemson this week. Shout
out to Pigskin Pete in the chat. Pete, do you have any fans on like this? Like this, we're really happy with this. Let me read on. One thing Canes need to be vigilant for, the notorious ongoing fixing scandal, which is also in quotes, which is self-defeating as far as making that argument, with the ACC and the refs. Some more shocking evidence was uncovered this week by Canes Twitter. The head ref from the Georgia Tech game, who laughed while calling multiple horrible phantom penalties and blatantly incorrect rulings like the quote-unquote fumble and the fake slide. Is he talking about Christian Leary?
Oh, Christian Leary, yep.
I think we might have tipped him to that. Pigskin Pete says yes. You have someone like this in your
Who
fan
is
base?
it?
Can you drop a link to him in the
Yeah,
chat?
please. Is it Bobby Durkins?
Yeah, I'd love to. If they have articles like this, I would love to read them.
Is it Bobby Durkin? Are you familiar with Bobby Durkins?
No.
He comes on and does like a funny character where he talks like the damn redneck, and he comes on there and talks about old Clemson, and they coming on there and it'll make you slap their mama.
Yeah, but this guy ain't playing a character, bro. That's what's impressive about this guy.
I'm wondering that you asked Pete about that. I'm wondering, like, do we have a person? Like, who's the closest person to Touchdown Tim in our fan base?
Goose.
I hope it's not me.
Gooser with the
Gooser?
triple option stuff.
I don't even know if. Yeah. I don't even. Oh, of course. Of course.
Lely?
You know who it is. Yes, it's Lely.
I don't see much of Lely anymore for one reason or another. I can't speak on, but
no, of course, it's him. Yep.
All right, so this guy is allegedly a Georgia Tech alum, but even worse than graduating from Georgia Tech. 1 in 6 of them are millionaires. He is living and working in Atlanta. By God, he lives in Atlanta. And is a fan of Georgia Tech. He even had a picture of a Georgia Tech player tackling a Miami player on his Facebook picture. Then changed it when we exposed him. Touchdown Tim has got this guy shook because there ain't no such thing as halfway crook. Yeah. All right, take a look. His picture before and after the game. Here's before. Right here, I guess this is him. Dang.
Yeah.
He's straight.
I'm high on allergy meds right now. Yep.
and then he changed it to some palm trees. Vet says he graduated from Northern Illinois.
It was a cool picture. That's probably why he had it as his thing. He was in the background, like, that's a cool picture. It's a little blurry though, but
Yeah, I mean, Vet's saying he didn't graduate from Tech. We might have to do our own investigation.
Yeah.
Friends, clearly something to hide. Funny he changed the photo after being caught red-handed. Guilty. This needs to be investigated now. Not tomorrow, not after breakfast, not after CSI, now. Fixed, crooked refs aren't the only thing to look out for tonight. You'll also notice that Tex Walker. Tex? Is that a new nickname, or did he have a typo there? I don't know. Tex Walker is miraculously eligible now after being rightfully disqualified previously for transferring all over the place. Third transfer in 3 years, unacceptable. He was rightfully ruled ineligible, but guess what? He was magically granted eligibility just a week ago. Now, I will say, of all the things that he's talked about, I do think this is weird. I legitimately agree with him here. Like, why was the evidence not made known? You know, why all of a sudden, what changed? I think this is a good
well, there was so much heat on him. They probably said that, like, if there was no like controversy, then they probably would have ruled him eligible this week, you know, regardless. But
Yeah.
since there was so much controversy, they probably made that up just as some kind of, like,
Oh yeah, new evidence.
you know what I mean? That's kind of what that's my thought on it.
Now, this is a good question by Ved. Do you think if you live in Atlanta, you shouldn't be able to officiate a Miami game?
I mean, yeah, it clearly means that you're biased. So.
All right, we're almost done. Just in time to bail out Fake May's terrible season. He's leading the ACC in every stat, I think. And just in time to get some practice reps against ACC cupcake Syracuse so he could be ready to battle Miami. More anti-Miami agenda from the NCAA. Unreal. Unreal. Official prediction. Oh, boy. Now, aside from possible crooked refs and the rigged Tex Walker, I think he thinks the guy's. I think he really does think the guy's name's Tex Walker.
Tex, yeah.
Decision by the NCAA. Like I said, Canes have all the advantages. So he just goes through crooked refs. He's going to run it up to the FBI, but Miami has the advantage in spite of all that. We also will be playing angry and hungry. Every game is a playoff game for us from here on out. They're already in the playoffs. Expect the Canes to come out and punch the high heels in the mouth, and expect us to keep it coming all night. All night long. This country will respect Miami again after tonight.
Hell yeah.
Mark my words. Canes will win by 2+ scores. Final score prediction, Miami 43, High Heels 31. Full confidence in Coach Cristobal and our Canes. Canes will be 43-31. Take it to the bank and book it. Go Canes. That's it, guys.
A-tier content there from our buddy Touchdown Timothy.
Touchdown Tim, and look, they probably got screwed in that game by the refs too. I mean, I know they were calling penalties on each team, but I do think they got screwed by the refs again.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, look, man, I know you're tired. I'll probably open up the StreamYard. You can hop
sorry,
off.
I'm about to fall out, man. Jeez.
Yeah,
Next
no
time
worries.
I'll take it after the show. I'll take my freaking. God damn.
Your somas.
Yeah, man. I took it so I'd stop itching. I'm not itchy, at least. I'm just
How do
tired.
you keep getting? What's the word? Infected by poison ivy? Like
Poison ivy.
it's like you attract it.
It's because I've been working outside. Today we tore the roof off of our house, so
Okay.
that was fun. So no poison ivy involved in that situation, but yeah, it was just it just is what it is. I working on tearing all that crap out. There's a ton of poison ivy around my house. So
I hear you. Well, all right,
yeah,
man. Well, we appreciate you coming on. The great Sea Dog. Get some rest, man.
Good to see you, man. Later.
All right.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, man? Hold on one second. Homeless Mario. Now you're going to get touchdown Tim mad with a name like that, but what happened against North Carolina?
It's all rigged. Drake May is not a good quarterback. It's rigged. The ACC refs rigged it. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I do think that was the smoking gun, though. This ref has a picture of a Georgia Tech player making a tackle. I also would like some answers.
I mean, I honestly have no clue where he got that information from, if that's his actual profile, and whether he even graduated from Tech. Anybody can make crap up.
Well, Ved was saying he didn't. I guess if you look at this guy's LinkedIn, and I don't really want to say the guy's name. I know I showed his name in the article. I might actually go back and edit that out. But evidently, if you go on his LinkedIn, he graduated from Northern Illinois. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that kind
that
of,
makes
there
no
goes
sense.
that.
Well, I mean, if we're on the subject of Miami right now, the remainder of their schedule, I see 3 losses. I mean, Louisville, maybe not. I don't know. They might come back and win a couple more games, but that's potentially a loss. So Clemson and Florida State, I do not see them beating. Maybe Clemson, but not Florida State. Florida State is gonna beat up on them, I think.
Well, they do have a tough schedule going out. They've got Clemson next week, and look, I see Mrs. Pete in the chat, and I'm not at all. I've probably defended Clemson more than any non-Clemson ACC fan. Like, yes, they're struggling on offense. Yes, they're not the Clemson that they used to be. Clemson is not a bad team, though. Clemson is not an untalented team. They will match up well with Miami. In fact, it would not surprise me if Clemson's a slight favorite in this game, 2.5 points. Or something like
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. It's a night game. It is at Miami, but like, does Miami really have any kind of home field advantage? Like, let's be honest, they don't.
No.
I don't think Georgia Tech does either, though. Like, I don't.
No, so we would know about not having home field advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Bobby Dodd on several occasions, and like, big moments in the game, and the crowd is just dead silent. Like when the away team is in a big moment, and it's just like the only time I've ever been to Bobby Dodd, and I know there's been other times for other people, but the only game I ever went to that I felt like Bobby Dodd was genuinely a home field advantage was the Duke game, when we were like all the fans are yelling because it was a big game and everyone was like hyped. Then when we beat Pitt, and it was homecoming, ton of people there, and everyone was screaming and the whole stadium was rocking. That is the only time I've ever felt like Bobby Dodd was a home advantage. But like the NIU game, dead silence. Like there was big moments for NIU that like they needed, and we weren't trying to distract them. We were just sitting there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had a few games where I think we had a little bit of home field advantage. Duke last year was one of them. And look, we're in the same boat as Miami with that. Like, if you want people to show up, get loud and get rowdy, you got to win football games, That's what Miami has to do. That's why it was so insane that Miami came into this season saying 10-2, 11-1. It's like, well, what have you done to justify that? What have you done to think that you could look past Georgia Tech or any other team? I don't care if we just lost to Bowling Green. Like, you've got to show people you can handle your business. You're not – I mean, they really kind of thought they were going to sleepwalk into the ACC title game. I mean, if you listen to their fans.
That's ridiculous. I mean – thinking about it, I would say that Miami and Texas A&M, I know they played earlier in the season. I would say that Miami and Texas A&M are about the same team in 2 different conferences. A lot of raw talent, a lot of hype surrounding the coaching staff. But like the coaches have a lot of hype around them because they came from other schools that did well. But as far as the current tenure at their current school, like Jimbo, he hasn't done anything to prove that he's a good coach other than one like fluke 2021 season. Like, And same with Cristobal. Cristobal hasn't proven that he's in any way, shape, or form going to live up to the hype.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Sea Dog was alluding to when we were talking about, is there a really like hard ceiling on Lincoln Riley? I think it's too early to say for Cristobal at Miami, but is there just a hard ceiling with Cristobal? I mean, these curious coaching decisions are not new for him. It was a different situation when he did it at Oregon, I think against Stanford, which shout out to Stanford for a 29-point deficit they overcame to get a win in Boulder. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Look, Miami has never lacked talent. They've just got to put it together. And we talked about Clemson. They've got Virginia, which they should be able to handle Virginia, and then on the road, NC State. Though I don't think they can overlook NC State either. NC State's another one of those teams that really underperforms their talent, but they're not an untalented team. Then they've got Florida State on the road. They come home and get Louisville and end at Boston College. But that's a pretty tough 3-game stretch, I think. NC State, Florida State, Louisville. I know Louisville just lost to Pitt, but I think they're a good team.
Yeah, well, we'll see about whether that was a fluke when they play Duke next week. So, yeah, that's going to be one to. Well, no, they think they have a bye. No, yeah, the next time they play is the 28th. So we'll see what they do coming off the bye week. If they can compete with Duke and maybe win that game, then we'll say, okay, the Pitt game was like our Bowling Green game. It was a fluke. I'm hoping that Bowling Green was a fluke. I think it was.
I hope so too. And look, every year we've talked about this. Almost every team loses a game that no one thought they were going to lose. I see Mike Jones says there is a hard ceiling when your IQ is 45. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, 45 is like, I can't even say the word. That's pretty severe. But yeah, I mean, that was a pretty severely bad decision he made. And I guess that opens up the conversation of like who wins the ACC this year. Let me look at who Florida State has left to play. Obviously, they've got Miami left to play. They've got Duke next week in Tallahassee. That could give them trouble.
So, yeah. I personally think that Florida State and North Carolina are probably going to be in the ACC championship. It's going to be one of them.
Yeah. Florida State has, other than Duke, the worst part of their schedule behind them. Then they go at Wake, come home at Wake, at Pitt, home for Miami. They've got a nobody like North Alabama, and then at Florida. Florida's god awful. I know that they just beat South Carolina, but South Carolina is also pretty god awful. I mean, them and Vandy are probably the worst teams in the East this year, and might be the worst teams in the SEC. Period. North Carolina. Let's see who they've got left. Obviously, we know they've got Tech left. They got Virginia next week. They play us. They got the Campbell Camels. What was my SAT, ACT score? It wasn't great. I didn't go to Tech out of high school, Mrs. Pete. I didn't take the ACT. I mean, my SAT was probably like a 12-something. It wasn't even a 1,300. It wasn't great. I transferred. Then they go at Clemson, at NC State. So, yeah, the worst part of North Carolina doesn't really have a tough schedule. I mean, the only team they'll play that will end the season ranked is Duke and maybe Clemson. So North Carolina gets a pretty easy draw too. Yeah, I think it's probably likely Florida State and North Carolina end up in the ACC title, which is kind of fitting because I know there's not any divisions anymore, but they were in opposite sides of the division.
Yeah, I think that those are both the most well-rounded teams. I think with Clemson, you have a lot of issues surrounding that program that aren't necessarily like gaping issues. Like they're not terrible, but like I just don't think that Clemson is the Clemson that everyone expects them to be this year. And I don't think they're better than Florida State, and I certainly don't think they're better than North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, as of now, I don't think so. I do think that they'll bite some people on their way out, though. I mean, I think they're just too talented to just keep losing games. Slim, why are you saying, huh? Huh? What? I will say though, Mrs. Pete, can I just go pay and take the SAT and just murder it and then feel better about my old score? Can you do that?
Technically, yeah, you can register for the AC or the SAT regardless of college admissions.
Yeah, I
can just
probably
take
wouldn't do great on the reading anymore. I mean, don't you get 600 points for putting your name on it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough test, I will say, and it's not that it's like a hard test because it's literally just reading and then like basic algebra and like a few geometry questions. It's just the sheer amount of time that it takes. It takes like 4 hours of a Saturday. It's
Well,
ridiculous.
they used to have a writing portion that I think they've done away with now.
The essay, yeah.
When I took it, you had to do an essay, which is not great because it's pretty subjective.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I don't. Yeah. Well, I think that the rest of the season is going to be very interesting because there's a lot of teams that on paper are like a lot of teams in the top 10 on paper should win the rest of their games. Namely, Oregon and Washington. They both should win the rest of their games, assuming that they're the top two teams in the Pac-12. They should win the rest of their games. And I believe there's divisions still in the Pac-12. Am I right? There's divisions,
I'm not
right?
sure.
All right, let me look. No, there's not. There's no divisions. Okay, so assuming Washington and Oregon meet again in the Pac-12 championship. I mean, I really think that a lot of people think that the Pac-12 is wide open with as many ranked teams as they have, but I think that Washington and Oregon are just far above, the rest of the teams. And technically, USC is at the top of the conference because they're 4-0 in conference. But like, let's be honest, Lincoln Riley's best defense is more offense. Like,
Yeah, his offense
not
holding
any
the
good.
ball. Yeah.
It's not any good.
I mean, I'm just looking through next week's games. Obviously, the big one. Weird that it's at noon. You beat Mrs. Pete. I got a 13-20. Okay.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
I
don't know
didn't
if
beat
that's good
Mrs.
enough for
Pete.
Tech.
I think the average SAT into Tech is probably close to a 1400. I don't know if it is. And then you got to have like a 4.0.
Yeah.
Or very
From
close
what I
to it.
heard, From what I heard, you have to have a 1370 to even be in the conversation. And even then, you still probably won't get in.
Well, even to transfer, you had to have a minimum of a 3.7. And they only look at your math and science GPA. So like art appreciation, all those jerk off classes, they could care less about. I don't even think they transfer. Yeah. So yeah. But at noon, Penn State. Penn State at Ohio State, two undefeated teams. That'll be an interesting one. 4.5 points for Ohio State, favored by obviously Boston College at Georgia Tech. We know that's the game to watch. I know, and someone's asking in the chat. I mean, there's not a ton to say about Boston College at Georgia Tech. I think that's a game Georgia Tech should win. Now, Georgia Tech's a 5-point favorite at this point. Over-under is 57.5. The only thing that scares me with Boston College is they do have a really athletic quarterback. He put Florida State's defense through the ringer a little bit. Like I said earlier in the show, we might just have to commit a linebacker to spying him and just say, hey, you're not going to beat us with scrambling around running the ball. You're going to have to beat us throwing the ball. And if our defense, especially our secondary, can play as well as they did against Miami, I think that should be a winning strategy. The other thing that scares me about that game is what Georgia Tech offense is going to show up in that game. Are we going to get the offense that we had last two games, or Louisville and Wake? It's hard to say. I do think that our offense plays better. I think this bye week is really well placed for us for a few different reasons. One, we had this huge emotional win against Miami. I think having the bye week in between us and Boston College helps prevent a letdown loss against them. And then I think it also gives you time to iron out some stuff on offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a team, with your defensive coordinator, Scherer, I mean, he gets another week to work with the defense, but he is also like, you get to practice, and he's like, you just got a piece of what I can do with this defense, and y'all know what you can do. Y'all know your abilities. You know you can compete. So let's practice like we know we can win every game. Like, because I think our defense showed up last week, and if they continue to show up in the way that they did last week, I mean, let's make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Miami is a good team offensively, not great, good. And we held them to like nothing in the first half. I think they had a field goal in the first half, and we started faltering at the end there a bit. But really, it was the defense that won that game by a large margin. So if we can continue to be have that kind of consistency on the defensive side of the ball, which I don't know, I'm not making any statements. I don't know if we can continue to have that kind of consistency. But if we can, we're going to put ourselves in a lot of games. We're going to put ourselves in the arena with maybe UNC, maybe Clemson. I still think UGA is far beyond us. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to bring Slim on next. Any words before we go to Slim?
Just compete and play well against Boston College, and the rest of the season is a bright season. Go Jackets.
All right. That was homeless Mario Cristobal. All right. Slim Shady Kane's on. What's going on, Slim?
I'm confused.
I know. Go ahead.
Why is Mario Cristobal on here saying go Jackets?
Well, if you read Touchdown Tim's article, you would know that there is a conspiracy that Mario is involved in, or he has CTE and doesn't realize what he's actually saying. It's one of those two things.
Yeah, but see, that's what I love about college football, because all you need is another slate of games, and all of a sudden, now Dan Lanning is wearing the dunce cap this week.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Going for it on around the 50 when you're up by 4.
And I was watching that when it happened.
Yeah, he contributed to my horrible picks last week, which I don't know if you heard, I was 30% last week picking
Ouchie.
games. Yeah, I went from 65 to 30.
I got that one wrong. I was with Oregon. I was like, so far they seem to definitely have the better defense, and they seem to be a more well-rounded offense. And Oregon come out there and just took a shit on my take.
Well, I think they still are. It's just this is another week where you can really point to your coach directly as the reason why you lost. Sucks, but it is what it is. Mrs. Pete says, Slim, Miami, WTF. What happened in North Carolina? I picked y'all for the upset win, Slim.
Yeah, well, if you remember, during the offseason, I picked that as a loss.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, of course, I'm not going to come on here game week and say we're going to lose the game. I mean, that's not how the internet works. But,
ton of penalties.
No, I've said it. Jesus. And North Carolina said hold my beer when it came to committing some penalties.
Let me look at that, because y'all had to combine for about almost 400 yards in penalties, I would think.
I know North Carolina had almost 150 by themselves.
And y'all had to have more than 150. I could be wrong.
We didn't.
Let me look.
We didn't hit 100.
Well, I guess they were just penalized way more. They had a ton of holding calls. They had some PIs. Now, your coach, what happened there? So y'all have no idea what you're doing on defense when North Carolina's like on the 7 or 5 or something. You're playing kind of musical chairs with your defensive players, and then your defensive coordinator comes out and gets a personal foul.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm still not exactly sure what happened there.
Maybe he was trying to get a timeout, but he's going to the wrong ref for that. He should have gone to the line judge that's right in front of the sticks there. So I don't know. That was odd.
Well, they got the timeout in, so I thought, well, maybe he was yelling at some player that did something stupid that he wasn't supposed to do.
That could be the case too, but I don't know which one you would yell at. There was a lot of stupidness going on during that play.
Yeah, that was weird.
Now,
But no, I actually didn't leave that game really all that mad. I mean, the defense played pretty much lights out until midway through the third quarter when they just got gassed. They were tired because the offense kept stepping on rake after rake.
Yep, 2 picks, 4 total turnovers, so you were -4 in the turnover margin. What do you think about Van Dyke? Because I said I think he's nursing injury, or he looks a little banged up to me.
Well, he has been all year. He tore 3 ligaments in one of his fingers in the summer.
Was it his throwing hand index finger? That's what they said was bothering him.
That one that's been taped up with a splint with black tape on it all year? Yes, that one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you accredit the picks to that, or was it bad decision?
Well, context. One of those picks was the very last play of the game, and it was a Hail Mary. I don't care about that. You're chucking it up, hoping somebody can make a play. Whatever. The one pick, it was actually very similar to a couple of them in Georgia Tech where, well, at least one of them I can think of off the top of my head against Georgia Tech, where the corner just read the quarterback and broke off of the man he was supposed to be covering and jumped the pass.
Yeah. Then you had a fumble, and you have 2 fumbles.
Well,
you had 2 fumbles lost.
Henry Parrish fumbled once, and the second one, that was just a bad snap. It's on the center. It happens. And that's the only really bad snap he's had all year. So I'm not going to eat his lunch over it.
Well, he is a fantastic center. I think he's graded out as the best center in the country. Now, y'all had 7 penalties for 69 yards. They had 14 penalties for 147 yards. So you combined for 216 yards in penalties.
Impressive.
You don't see that a whole lot. Now, the yardage wasn't that far off. They had 508 to your 482. I think it's just, when you're -4 in the turnover margin, you're not going to win many games, especially with a ranked opponent on the road.
No, and like I said, the defense played, especially in the first half, played lights out. If I'm not mistaken, Drake May didn't have 100 yards passing in the first half. Or if he did, it was just barely.
Yeah, he had 281, I think, yards total.
I give all compliments to the defense and that. And what are they can only do so much when they're constantly being thrown back out on the field.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Especially against an offense like North Carolina. I went into that game because me and you talked about it last week. I went into it saying, you're not going to shut down North Carolina. All you're going to do is hope to slow them down. Kind of like USC for the most part. Obviously, Notre Dame did a better job than most have, but that's very rare that you see any Lincoln Riley offense shut down to that extent.
Yeah, that's true. Drake May's a fantastic quarterback, and look, North Carolina has a fantastic offense. You're right. You're not going to slow them down. Though you were able to get to them quite a bit, I think, particularly in the first half, right?
Which is something they hadn't done particularly well all year, even including against Georgia Tech. They've been able to stifle yards and all that, but getting to the quarterback had been a problem. And they did that against North Carolina. So that's another kind of feather in the cap, so to speak, for the defense, in my opinion.
You got 5 sacks on the night to their 3.
Yeah, and this is the first game I can really point to and say the offensive line had a bad day for Miami, as good as they played this year.
Yeah.
Because one of those sacks came when North Carolina only rushed 3.
Yeah, that's not a good look. So
No.
what is your thought as someone who is a Miami fan? Because me and Sea-Dog talked about it. There's a lot of kind of craziness in your fan base, as far as, I guess, not a lot of patience. I mean, what's your outlook for
patience.
what's your outlook for this team this year, and then where do you expect them to be, say, year 4 under Cristobal?
Well, as far as this year, they're still kind of right on track for what I projected them to do.
Well, let's
and
okay.
Arguably even a step ahead considering they beat A&M. You know, I was kind of chalking that up as a loss. I thought we had a good chance to win it, but I was chalking that up as a loss.
So you thought that'd be 2 losses up to this point. What do you think about going into Clemson, or no, not going into, hosting Clemson next week?
I think you can draw a lot of similarities between Miami and Clemson. Both defenses are playing well, and both offenses are having struggles.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, they seem fairly evenly matched.
I'd agree with that.
I think it's kind of obvious Miami's probably got to step up on them in the quarterback department, despite what Miami fans think.
Yeah.
And tell me what you think about this, because I still can't wrap my mind around the Miami fan logic. Like, coming into Saturday, Drake May and Tyler Van Dyke are basically dead even and every category in which they measure a quarterback, but consensus, Drake May is a top 5 quarterback in the country, and consensus in the Miami fan base is Tyler Van Dyke is trash. I don't see how you can hold these two thoughts simultaneously.
Well, to me, that's kind of like you're only giving me 2 options. I would say Drake May is a better quarterback than Tyler Van Dyke. In fact, I think there's throws Drake May can make that Tyler Van Dyke can't. The arm talent Drake May has is top notch. Now, do I think Tyler Van Dyke's trash? No. I think he's struggling right now. I think he's about a letter grade behind Drake May, though.
I would agree with
that. And that's because also, aside from, I think Drake May has a lot better arm talent, or maybe not a lot better. He has definitely better arm talent. He's got the run game. I mean, Drake May has got leg talent that Tyler Van Dyke just doesn't have.
Well, yeah, and that's not. I haven't hit my opinion on that. It's not a big priority for me. I mean, I don't want somebody with cinder blocks for feet, but I don't want a Lamar Jackson either. I want my quarterback to sit back there and play quarterback. And, you know, if you've got room to get 4 yards for a first down, fine. Mm-hmm. If nobody's open. But outside of that, I want you to sit back there and throw the ball.
Yeah, I've talked about this on the channel before. It's the difference between a running quarterback and a quarterback that can run, which is the difference in Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson in his prime. I would take a prime Russell Wilson over Lamar Jackson.
Sure. Now, I also, once again, context. I'm not sure if I would put, if I completely agree that I would put Tyler Van Dyke a whole letter grade behind, because, well, let's not forget, this is Tyler Van Dyke's 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years and his 4th offensive coordinator since he's been at Miami.
Yeah, it's tough. We said this when we played, right? I said it's really tough to compare quarterbacks like this because there's so many things that are different. It is killer for a quarterback to be on a different offensive coordinator and quarterback coach every year. I think Drake May, though he is younger, this is his 2nd year, right?
It's his 2nd year starting, 3rd year in the program.
I don't think they've changed coordinators that whole time, though.
No, they haven't. And also, Van Dyke's had 2 different head coaches as well.
Yeah, so he had Manny Diaz and then Mario Cristobal, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. And that's where, like, I can't square the Miami fan logic. And I know you don't at all fall into this, but, like, fire everybody, right? It's like, well, y'all been doing that for 20 years, and it hadn't got you anywhere.
Well, I've tried none of them can seem to understand the definition of insanity. Apparently,
Yeah. We'll just do it again, and it'll work this time. No one will see it coming.
and you know what? That is literally their logic. Let's do. If it does not work out, if we don't have an elite offense year one, fire them, move on to somebody else. Bench Tyler Van Dyke, and that's the other thing. Like, even people that I thought were somewhat sane, like Coop, you want to put in a true freshman? I mean, y'all act like y'all don't know how football works.
Yeah. I mean, look, the backup quarterback is always the most popular kid on the team when your starter is struggling. But throwing out a true freshman, I've said this before too. When you throw out a quarterback that young too early, you can ruin them. You can have them all kind of shook.
Well, and I really do think some of them just lack an understanding of football. Like,
probably, yeah.
They're wanting to put all the problems on Van Dyke and Shannon Dawson, but are not looking at the fact that over the last 2 games, we've averaged 3.2 yards a carry. When you don't have a run game to help out, what are you supposed to do? And this was a problem last year as well.
Well, so let's talk about that. What do you accredit that to? Because I do think you have a good offensive line. I do think you have good running backs. So what's not computing there? Or why are you not getting the results on the ground that you should be able to get with what you have?
I think the offensive line is much improved over what it was last year. I think it still has work to do.
Okay. So it's the offensive line needs to improve.
Partially, yes. And partially, too, like, I think Parrish is good, but Parrish gets on my nerves with this. Like, they'll call, just say, for instance, an off tackle to the outside, and the hole close up. Well, then he's trying to bounce it back to the inside constantly.
Oh, he's always looking for the cut to get a big play.
Yes.
That makes sense. Now, I do. Mike Jones has a great suggestion. Miami should hire Jeff Collins.
No, Miami should not.
That would be great.
No, Miami needs to stay doing exactly what Miami's doing. Like, and I've brought this up to you, and this is a hill I'm going to die on.
Okay.
That big contract they gave Cristobal may be the saving grace of Miami.
That's what C-Dog said.
They're not going to pay it, so it doesn't matter how much of a period the fan base has.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with that. If he was in a 5-year contract, he might get fired next year if he was on a 5-year contract. That wasn't, that was like $5 million a year or something. Yeah. But you signed him to 10 years, $80 million, and
that's the room. That's the whole thing. That is considered what it is. Like, nobody actually knows. That's part of Miami being a private school. Like, Miami's never put out there what Cristobal's contract is.
Okay, assuming that's what it is.
It may actually be more.
Yeah, either way, I do think it's long. Like, he would not have left Oregon unless y'all offered him the kitchen sink, I don't think.
Well, I think I think Miami would probably get off cheaper than most anywhere else to get him out of Oregon, only because it's Miami and he went to Miami and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, look what kind of came with it. The commitment to build the what is it, $200 million football facility, and
yeah,
kind of Miami getting with the times.
Yep, same thing when Kirby took the job at UGA. He had things that they had to commit to doing that they did. So it was the same with Mario.
Yeah. But, no, we got Clemson coming to town this week, and, I mean, that's another one I had chalked up as a loss, but seeing the way Clemson and Miami have both played, I mean, it doesn't look like an unwinnable game by any stretch of the imagination.
Let me see what the line is as of yet on that. I would think it's probably Clemson by 2.5.
It would make sense to me, yeah.
let's see, though. I've been wrong before. Scores. That's what I want. That's where they give the lines. Week 8. Let's go to ACC. Clemson by 2.5. I swear to God, I did not look that up before. Oh, but yeah, it's Clemson 2.5.
There you go.
The game is 8. So y'all have had this will be your 3rd straight night game as well.
Yeah, that's kind of like for all the for as much flack as Miami gets for not filling up the stadium, they do always draw TV numbers. And I think it's kind of got something to do with a point that Lou made. It's a very spread out fan base. And I think that's why they draw TV numbers.
No, they do. I think they do draw well on TV. But yeah, that's a pick. I mean, the over-under is 52, so they don't think you are going to score a lot of points either way in that game.
Which makes sense looking at how both offenses have played this year. Well, at least at Clemson this year, Miami against lesser competition, but especially over the past couple of weeks.
The chat wants to know if you are going to wear the Ghost unis.
No, I actually they sent out an email because I got an email from the school because I donate to the school.
Okay.
They're telling the fans to white out. So I actually thought that game was going to be a whiteout, not North Carolina. So I imagine that they're just going to be wearing their regular home uniforms. No, they only do the blackout uniforms once a year. And now with Mario, if that.
Yeah, he banned it last year and then he got bet on it this year. Y'all might not see those for a good while.
Well, even all the other ones, like they wore them once. They did a different blackout uniform and what was it, 22 or 21? It was 21. They did a different blackout in 21, and then they had what was it, 17 or 18? They come out with those. It was 17. They had those other blackouts. So it's something like they tend to wear them once, and that tends to be about it. But that was Mario's thing. Like last year, he said they have to earn it, and last year he said they didn't earn it, and he said that they had earned it this year. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not. I don't have the problem with it. Some people do. I actually kind of liked them. I preferred those over the last ones they did. I'm just glad they're not doing the whole Oregon thing because that's kind of annoying.
Collins kind of did that at Georgia Tech with like a different uniform every week. I just know the Ghost uniforms are now 0-2 for being losing to 20-point underdogs. Those need to never see the light of day again. But
I'm trying to think. Let's see. Miami is 2-3 in blackouts, I think.
yeah,
And that's going back to the first blackouts they did in I think it was 15. I think it was the first year that we were with Adidas. If I'm not mistaken. But I mean, they do other stuff like this North Carolina game. They had the whiteout. Every few years they'll do like an all orange or an all green.
yeah. Y'all wore all white. Is your normal road jersey all white?
No. Normal road home is orange top, white pants, and the reverse is away.
Okay. That's what I thought. So yeah, y'all wore all.
But they
white.
also they added in after they come out with those uniforms, they added in a green. So every once in a while they'll throw in like a green bottom or something like that.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, man, Tech's been on a bye this week. I'm probably going to get to bed, but what do you got to say before we get off the air here?
Taters for dinner Saturday.
Taters for dinner. All right, everyone. That was Slim Shady Canes. I have a green shirt on, so I'm disappearing into the ether. But good show tonight. Glad to have conversation with my boy C-Dog, read a little touchdown Tim, talk shop, talk football, had a few calls. Y'all have a great night. I'll be getting some videos out. I kind of took it easy this week on the bye, rested a little bit. But yeah, have a good night. And if no one's told you, WreckTalk loves you.